Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is your boy CharlesISanimeWorld, and welcome to How to Color Manga / Line Art for Beginners Part 2. In this video, we're going to learn a lot of different stuff. We're going to learn about how to actually finalize your work. We're going to learn about saving gradient maps. We're going to learn about how to color complete blacks. That's a hard one. A lot of people have been really wondering about that, how to color complete blacks as well. We're going to learn about the quick fill feature. We're going to learn about the shine / sun effect. Yes, we're going to create an artificial sun. And we're going to finally learn about manual shading when using the gradient map method of coloring. So all that and more in this video. Thank you guys so much. I would suggest one thing. If you haven't seen part 1 of this video, how to color manga and line art for beginners, part 1, I highly suggest you check it out. I'll leave a link to it in the description box below and an annotation to it at the top of the screen as well, at the top of the video. Thank you guys so much. Sit back and hopefully I can help you guys even improve your coloring farther than you already have before. Okay guys, in this part of the video, we're going to learn how to finalize our artwork. Basically, we're adding the finishing touches. Now, nothing has changed since the last video. You're still coloring using gradient maps. If you don't know how to use gradient maps to color, I suggest you pause this video and go check out my previous video where I teach you how to color line art and manga using gradient maps. A link to it will be in the description box below and an annotation at the top of the screen. Now then, let's talk about adding the finishing touches to your artwork. What we're going to be working on is on the background layer itself. We're not going to be merging the picture together. We're not going to be flattening the picture. We're going to leave everything separate, but we're only going to be working on the background image itself. Now, the first thing you want to do is you want to go to Filter, and you want to go to the Topaz Labs. Now, I must warn you, by default, your Photoshop will probably not have Topaz Labs. Topaz Labs is something that you're going to have to acquire on the internet. It shouldn't be that hard, but just look into it. It's a great product to have. Now, once you have Topaz Labs, you're going to want to go to Topaz Labs, and you're going to want to go to where it says Topaz Clean. Okay, you really only need Topaz Clean and Topaz Denoise. Those are the only two that you need, really. But we're going to start working with Topaz Clean. Again, we're working on the background layer. So now we're on Topaz Clean, and through trial and error, I've made this basically custom filter, and I call it my new manga preset. And I'm going to show you guys over here what it looks like. I leave the strength of the one as a 1, the threshold at 150, the radius at 25. When it comes to edges, I leave the accent at 1, the radius all the way up, and the sharpness at 0. And what that does is that makes everything really smooth. Now again, we're only working on the background layer. That's why the image is in black and white. Don't worry about it. Your image will still be colored once you leave this page, okay? And when it comes to texture, I leave that at 0 and then leave the boost at 2.95 and the size at 4.36. Now, this is perfect for me. If you want to play around with it, you can. The best thing about Topaz Labs is that you can go through each one and it gives you a description of what each thing actually does. But for me personally, this is the settings that I use for my presets. So once I do that, I click OK. Now, as Topaz Labs does its work, boom, everything gets a lot more smoother. The edges get a lot more smoother as well. Now then, the next thing that I do is I go back to filter again and I go to denoise. Okay? Now, through denoise, I have my own filter again called New Manga Denoise Settings. Okay? And basically, these are my settings right here that I have for my denoise settings. I always move this to 0, or basically leave this at -2, and I'll leave this around about -1. I'll move my highlights up a bit as well. Adjust shadow, I will move that up as well. I usually leave the overall strength at a 38. I don't want to do too much. Basically, and I always recover the detail. I want the picture to shine through I leave the radius blur at 0, and I do not add any grain, none at all, okay? Then I press OK. As you see, Topaz Labs is doing this thing. And boom. You see how the picture's starting to look really nice now? Now this is the last step to finalizing your artwork that I do before I flatten. And now, again, we're still working on the background layer. We're not merging or flattening the colors. And I'm going to explain to you guys why you don't merge and flatten before you do all these steps at finalizing your work. You want to go to where it says edit, excuse me, not edit, I'm sorry. You want to go to where it says image, and you want to go to where it says adjustments and bright and contrast. Now, again, you're working on the background layer. You want to just smooth this around. See what I mean, guys? And make it look as good as possible, or make it look how you would want it. Okay? Now, to me, this looks great. This looks phenomenal. It is really simple. Then you just simply press OK, and that's how I want it. Now then, if this is how you want your picture to look, if you say, okay, this looks great, now you go down, you right click the background image, and then you click merge visible, or just merge, okay? Now everything has been merged. Now then, after merging, these are the final two steps to finalizing your product, or putting the final finishing touches on your picture. You go to your adjustments layer. You go right here to vibrance. You click that. Now, you never touch the saturation, or you can if you want to. I never touch the saturation. What I do is, when it comes to vibrance, I always move it up some. What this does, it makes the colors pop. It makes them more filler. See what I mean? Like, it makes them pop, but it doesn't add so much that is, too much. Because when you add saturation, let me show you guys, because this is why I don't do it. I add saturation, and things just get a little too much. So I never add saturation. I just leave that at 0. Well, let me just go back. Okay, I just leave it at 0, and I always move the vibrance up as high as I want to, but it doesn't add too much. I go back to layers, and then I go to merge down. Now, the final step, okay, that I do is I go right here to exposure. Now, I don't mess with the exposure. I don't mess with the offset. I only slightly touch the gamma correction, and I move it up just a bit, not too much, like maybe 95 or 92, something like that. Not too much, okay, between that. Then that way right there, it just adds, even more shadow to it, more shading to it. I love it. Then I merge visible. And then there we go, guys. That's how I finalize my work or add the finishing touches. Okay, guys, so that's how I, finalize or add the finishing touches to any project that I'm working on. Now, let's go back and let's see what it looked like before. Now, this is when we're completely done. We did everything, and this is what we first started off with after we finished coloring. See what I mean, guys? It's like night and day. I mean, the colors aren't really that deep. Um, you know, and the shading is a little off, but everything looks a lot smoother now. Now, let's just say you're a person and you can't get Topaz Labs, or you can't find the program, or you don't know exactly what to do, okay? Now, if you can't find Topaz Labs, this is how I used to do it from back in the day, okay? First thing is I would go to filter, okay? Now, you wouldn't have Topaz Labs because you wouldn't have it. This is what I used to do before I discovered how cool Topaz Labs is. I would go to where it says uh, right here where it says stylize. Okay, it took me a while to find it. And then I will go to diffuse. Okay, and what diffuse does, it adds it kind of smoother as well. You have less control over it. I really don't like it, but it does get the job done if you don't have Topaz Labs. So you click that, and it smooths everything over again. Like, if you don't have Topaz Labs, I mean, this is another great alternative as well. Now, the next step that you would have to do is, because you don't have Topaz Labs, is that you would also go to your image layer, then you would go to adjustments, and you would still, change the brightness, the contrast as well to your desired, whatever you feel comfortable with. Most of the time, the brightness is going to be a little bit lower and the contrast is going to be higher. Okay, now that that's done, you would go to your background layer and you would merge them. Okay, now once you merge them, now you will go to your vibrance, and this time you would actually move up the vibrance as much as you want. Okay, but then this time, because you don't really have the strength of Topaz Labs, you will move up the saturation just a little bit. Not too much, but just a little bit. Okay? And you have to do it in this order, and I'm going to explain to you guys why you would do it in this order. Hold on, let me merge this down because I'm done with that. You also go to exposure like I just showed you. Go to your gamma correction as well. Then move it over. And then again, that will work as well. Then you will merge that. So that's how you would do it as well if you can't get Topaz Labs. The problem is that, when it comes to your noise, you'll still have some of the noise in your picture. Like right in here, the skin, you can see these little like boxes, patches, because you don't really have denoise. But again, it gets the job done if you can't find Topaz Labs. Now then, let's go back to how everything looked before you changed anything. Again, night and day, Now then, the reason why I say you work on the background layer first before you merge anything is because if you try to merge everything and start working on, finalizing your artwork, adding the finishing touches to it, what's going to happen is that you're going to merge everything or flatten your image, and then you're going to go to filter and you're going to go to your Topaz Clean. It's going to load up, and you're going to go to your presets and everything like that. You're going to, add it. And what's going to happen is that because you're, doing all the layers at the same time, there's a strong possibility your colors are going to bleed, especially if you go to filter, you use Topaz Labs, and you go to denoise. And if you use denoise to get rid of the noise, and let's just say you're using, you got a lot of noise in the picture and you're changing everything around, there's a very strong possibilities that the colors and things that you're working on will bleed, and you don't really want that. So let this process for you guys. I'm gonna show you a perfect example. Okay, so I added denoise, I added everything that I wanted to, but I want to show you right here, guys, by zooming up. This is why I say never flatten everything until you're actually done using it and you work on your background layer, because right here, guys, look at this. You see how the colors bleed and how the black became pink and how her hair went over into her skin right there, and that should have stayed black, because of that. And see how these got washed out as well at the tip of her hair. See the little white tips as well. That's why I say always work on your picture, on your background image before you merge or flatten your image. Always work on the black and white, because when you're working on black and white, your colors stay the exact same place because each color is on its own separate gradient map. So that's why I say that. Always work on your background image first when you're finalizing your picture, and then once you're done using either your Topaz Labs or you're using your diffuse, whichever one you choose to use, it won't make the colors bleed. In this portion of the video, I'm going to show you how to save yourself a lot of time when coloring with gradient maps. And like I've said previously in this video, and I know you guys are getting sick of me saying this, if you haven't seen my previous video on how to color gradient maps, I'll leave a link to it in the description box below and an annotation to it at the top of the screen. Now then, let's talk about this. Now let's just say you have a character that you're going to be coloring a lot of. If you're doing YouTube reviews and you like to make custom thumbnails, or you just like this character a lot and you know you're going to be coloring him or her multiple times. If you want to save yourself a lot of time, you go to your gradient maps, okay, and you just, let's just say you found the picture that you want, you found the skin tone that you want, and you're going to use this all the time, but you don't want to have to try to search for it or try to find it every single time. So what you're going to want to do is that once you find the gradient map that you want, you're going to first click New. I know you want to click Save first, but you don't do that. You click New first. Now that'll add that gradient map to it. Now, this is going to be a pain, but the next step you want to do is that you want to right click and delete all these other gradient maps. Every last single one of them. You know, I know it's a pain, I know, but this is the easiest way to save gradients in the future. So you just want to click all of them. Normally I would just highlight and delete them all at once, but since I'm recording, I don't want any hiccups or anything. So I'll just, right click and delete them all. Okay, so you only have this one gradient now within your presets. Now that you have just this one gradient, you're going to want to go over and click Save. Okay? Now you're going to want to save it as whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to call this for fun Easy Girl. Easy stands for Eden Zero. Not that Shelmay is easy, but Eden Zero Girl. And then you save that. Okay? Then you simply, after you save it, you can cancel it. Okay? Now let's just say you want to go back to how it was. You just don't want that one there. You want the default. So the first thing you do is right here where it says presets, you want to click the little gear right here, and you want to go to where it says reset gradients. Okay? Then it's going to say replace the current gradient with the default ones. You're going to say okay. So everything is back. The ones that you deleted are back. But here's the fun part now. If you go to load and you go to wherever you got it, you're going to go to Easy Girl. Okay. Easy Girl right here. Here's your gradient. You're going to search for it. You're going to click load. And then boom. There it is right there. So no matter what picture you come on in the future, wherever, other picture that you want to color of this girl or this guy or whatever, it'll always be right then and there. And that'll save you so much time because you won't have to search for the color anymore. It'll be with you forever. Okay? So that's going to save you at least 30 to 20 minutes of time coloring, especially if you're coloring the same person in different chapters or things like that. So that's how you save a gradient and how you're able to use it again over time. So and then if you want to, you could just press delete, like right click it, delete it. Okay, you deleted it. Then you can just go to load again, and any gradient from anything that you save, any girl. Let's just say for instance you want to use a different girl's skin or something like that, or a different skin tone. I saved another one called New Skin Tone. You click load, and then boom, there it is. And then I could use that skin tone if I want, which is really good and actually works really well. I may actually keep that. I'm not playing, but I'm just saying, just kidding around, and I found out something that works really well. In this part of the video, I'm going to show you how to use the quick fill. Now, what I mean by quick fill is that we're not going to be using any of the brushes, okay? We're not using any of the brushes. We're still going to be using the gradient maps, of course, but I want to show you guys a really cool technique that will save you even more time when coloring your favorite line art or manga panels. Now, let's just say you're coloring the queen, Arena Nakari from Shokugeki no Sama or Food Wars. Now, I haven't finalized this picture or added any finishing touches because I want to show you what it would look like while you're in the process of coloring it. So let's just start with her skin. Since she has such a nice face, I can use that and show you guys easier. So while you're on her skin layer right here, again, not where's the half moon, half circle where you control how you want your gradient map to look, but right here on the layer itself, So what you're going to do is you're going to use your lasso tool, and just for fun, we're just going to go around a part of Arena's face, just right here, just a crazy part. Now, while you're on your gradient map, and this is a really cool feature as well, let's just say you don't want this part of her skin to be colored. What you do is you go right here to your color section, and you press those little two arrows, and you make your background black. Okay, so right there, the white will be at the top, and the black would be at the bottom. So while the black is at the bottom, you simply press the backspace button and that would take away the color. Now guys, I'm not going to select anything else. I want to show you something really cool. Let's just say you say, oh crap, I actually wanted the color to actually stay. The only thing you do is that while you're still on that gradient map, you press those two arrows again and you make sure that your background is white, okay, instead of black. The black would be on the top and the white would be on the bottom. While the white is on the bottom, you press the same backspace button again, and there's the color. And that will work anywhere. So let's just say, for instance, you're coloring the picture, you've already outlined the ear, and you colored the ear, and that's what you want the rest of the skin to look like. What you will simply do is go over the skin, you know, all the way around the skin, wherever it is you want to go. I'm just doing this kind of sloppy because I already have everything done. And while you're on the skin, let's just say, for instance, you haven't colored it yet, okay? While you're on the skin, okay, because you already did the ear. I'm just showing you if you already did the ear, and you say, okay, I want to do the skin now. I want it all the same color as the ear. The only thing that you will have to do will press the two arrow buttons right there, those two little arrow buttons. Make sure that your background is white, and simply press the backspace button, and then boom, the skin would be colored. Obviously, her eyes got colored as well because I forgot to deselect the eyes, but that's my bad. but you see what I mean, right, guys? But hold on, let me Control Z that. Okay, and then what you want to do is you want to go to the outline as well, and then you just want to, how to do it, and just deselect the eyes so you don't accidentally color the eyes like I just did. Again, just showing you for fun. You go around the eyes, showing you that it does work, but I just want to show you just in case you make that mistake as well, because while you're coloring, that can happen. Mistakes always happens, you know, and then while everything is deselected, and you still select the skin, just simply press the backspace button now. Okay, now, and then the skin will be colored. Okay, so that's just basically how to do the quick fill feature. Okay, again, it's the quick fill feature. Okay, just a simple step that will help you save at least 10 to 15 minutes out of your day when coloring, your favorite artwork. In this portion of the video, I'm going to teach you how to color complete blacks, because coloring complete blacks scares a lot of people. And to be honest with you, complete blacks are one of the most easiest things to color. It really is. And I'm going to show you guys how we go from this to go to this. Now, let's start off with Shome's hair. Okay, you're going to zoom in, and right here, guys, I'm just a little too far in. Do you see this line right here, this invisible line? You're going to use your lasso tool, and you're just going to go right outside of it. So you're just going to go around like that. And what you're going to do is you're going to leave yourself an edge. Now, with Shome's hair, it's easier because it's a shine right here. But even if it wasn't a shine, you're going to go around it, but you're going to leave yourself an edge out. So the edge of the hair, or the edge of whatever you're coloring that's completely black, stays black. So you want to go all the way around and select the hair. Now, here's one thing as well, guys. Let me let me delete that. When you're around a text bubble, you have to use your imagination as well and actually see where the bubble is at. So for instance, you see the little tip of the bubble right here? You want to start right there, and right on it, color just the outside of it and try to follow it as much as you can to make the bubble, the rest of it yourself, the rest of the text bubble as well. So you can follow it so you won't go over it and accidentally color it the color of the character's hair or whatever it is you're actually coloring. Okay? So that's a little tip right there. Start with the tip of the text bubble and then work your way around it. Okay? So after you select all of the hair, so all of Shome's hair, and as you can see, I went around the text bubble as well. So I left I let there be an outline for the text bubble to stay black. As you guys can see, You know, I left the outline for her shoulder as well, and for the hair and for everything else. Look right here at the edges. You see what I did right here, guys? Let me zoom in a little bit. See how I left an edge right here so that it will stay black, but I'm coloring everything on the inside? Okay, so once you do that and you go around it using your lasso tool and you leave yourself an edge, then it's as simple as going into the gradient maps. Okay, now what you're going to do is this. Let's just say I'm just going to show you guys what a new one would look like. So let me take that off and let me go here and select everything. So let's just say I'm starting from scratch, but I need to color Xiaomei's hair. I will go right over here to the half moon, whatever, and I will go to gradient map. Not gradient, guys, okay? Again, like a lot of people get that confused. Not gradient. You're going to gradient map. You will click gradient map, and you're going to work where it's the blackest at. You know, where the darkest, the blackest. You're going to work with that. You're going to start with that, and you're just going to simply click a color. Boom. Her hair's red. And as you guys can see, look at this. See how I left, hold on, oops. Let me leave it red again. Hold on, let me cancel that. Let me go right here to red. Okay, and I'm just using this as an example. Okay, now as you guys can see, look here, because I left myself an outline, the edges are still black. See what I mean? But her hair is the right color. You know, now what you want to do is, what you could easily do is you can click your gradient map and you could drop down the color a little bit to make like a dark red, you know, to make it seem more realistic or like it belongs more so in the picture. And again, you click that as well and you're done. And it's not really that difficult. You know, a lot of people try to make it seem like it's so hard. It's really not coloring all blacks. Now let me show you something else as well. This is really cool. Okay, I could delete this. I don't really need that. A red hair Xiaomei looks weird. All right, so let's go with the sky. Now, if you're looking at this, this is terrifying you because you're thinking to yourself, how in the world I'm going to color all these little stars, everything like that, you know, the sky behind her. What a lot of people do is they take the cheap way out and they'll find a picture, they'll cut out Xiaomei and, you know, just place her like in a sky that someone else has done. But you don't want to do that. You want to do your own thing. You want to be original, you know. You want to show that you can do it yourself. So what you're going to do is that you're going to select all of the sky, everything around Xiaomei, everything. And then what you're going to do is you're going to use your gradient map and you're going to start right here and you're going to go start with the blackest if you want to, and you're going to just move it up a little bit, you know, a little bit towards the blue. That's the first thing you want to do. You know, move it up a little bit towards the blue. Not so much, but leave it as black as you can, but put a little color in it, okay? Then you want to move up to the lighter blues as well and the purples because it's a sky. It's supposed to be like a sakura cosmos, as it were. And you want to leave your stars, which are all white already, as you guys can see right here. See how I left this all white? If you look right here, I'm going to zoom in. If you look at the sky, all the stars behind her are white. So I don't want to change any of the stars. I want to leave them white. So once I do all of that, and you know, and I apply it to my gradient map, then that's what it comes out as, and that's how it looks. Okay, guys? And as you can see, I left an outline of everything that I did. You know, I didn't touch anything other than the sky. So that's what I did. And it's not really hard, and it looks beautiful, and it's simple, and it just works. Okay, so basically, you know, rounding this portion of the video off, if you want to color something that's completely black, the only thing that you do is while you're going over everything that's complete black, make sure you always leave yourself an outline. Make sure that you leave yourself a little bit of the black so that even once you're done coloring everything, you have this right here, this portion of it, right here that I'm showing, that I'm just lining up. You have this portion that's right here completely black, and then you can color everything else that's inside of it that's black. Okay, so that's how you color everything that's completely black. Another effect I want to show you guys is how to create an artificial sun, or how to create the gleam effect of light hitting something. And this is a really simple effect, but a lot of people don't know it, and if you're a beginner, you certainly won't know it. So we're going to use my boy Wise, from Eden Zero again, or Arsenal from Eden Zero, and what we're going to do is we're going to add a gleam effect right here to the center of his chest, basically showing light shining off of it and how to do that. Now, most people will try to make like a yellow circle or something like that, but that's not how it works. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this shine. The first step is we're going to go to filter, and then we're going to go all the way down to where it says render. Then from render, we're going to go to lens flare. Now what that's going to do is make an artificial sun, and as you guys can see right here, this little square piece, this little plus sign, is the artificial sun. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose different types of lens flares. I'm going to bring it down some because it's kind of strong, and I'm going to choose different types, and I'm going to place it right at the little circle so there could be like a shine or a glimmer off of it, just to make it seem like really cool. And I'm going to choose which one I want. And you can play around with this because it's non-destructive. So let's go with the 35 prime, or millimeter prime, whatever, the second one, and let's try that out. So you press OK, and then look. See, guys, do you see the difference? How you have the shine coming off of it and how it looks like really cool, like it's actually doing something. So let's go back as well. And that shine really does something. Now let's just say you don't like it. You could easily go to the top, go to history, and go back, delete it. And again, go back to filter, go to render, go to lens flare, and try it again. This time you could try a different one as well. You can move it around to where you see fit. Then we're going to try it again, press OK, and then look at that, guys. Doesn't that make the picture look a lot better? Just by adding a simple little lens flares there, and you can see the light shine off of it. You can see the circles of light shine off of it. And every part of Photoshop has this, so you guys can go ahead and try that out. That's a simple tool as well. Now, for instance, let's just use Gold D. Roger for an example. I've already added one, so I'm just going to show it again. Let's just say he's laughing and the sun is coming down this way. What you want to do is you go to filter. You will go again to render, go to lens flare. You will move this up some into the corner, make it kind of bright so that the sun is shining down in his face and he's laughing, having a great day, and you can see the sun shining down. Press OK, and you can see how the light is shining down on his face, and it looks like he's just laughing and it's bright and the sun is shining and everything like that. So that's how you create an artificial sun, or how you create the shine effect, or the lens flare as well as the. For this portion of the video, we're going to be talking about manual shading. Now, manual shading is necessary sometimes if you're using the gradient map method of coloring. And what we're going to try to do is get this picture from looking like this to looking like this. You already know how to color thanks to the previous video, but I'm going to show you how to get this manual shading. Now, what I mean by manual shading is that let's take a look at her neck, okay? Now, if you look at her neck right here, there's these lines, okay? Now, normally, certain mangaka, certain artists, they will shade. Like, for instance, let's take Shokugeki no Sama. As you see Arena right here, the artist has done the shading for us, so that's not any problem. But with someone like Hiro Mashima, who does Fairy Tail and my current favorite manga, Eden Zero, he really doesn't like to shade himself. He just does these lines. So you're going to have to manually add in shading yourself to get your art from looking like this to looking like this. Now, if you zoom in the exact same picture, notice her neck. We want to focus on her neck because focusing on her neck will help you shade everything else in. So if you look right here on this picture, you see that there's these lines. Now we have to get rid of these lines so we can have our natural shading, so then we can use our gradient map method of coloring. So how do we go by doing that? Well, let's find out. The first thing you want to do is that you need to find some type of shading from a different type of manga. So I would suggest something like Shokugeki no Sama or Food Wars, where there's a lot of shading going on. So let's just take Arena's face for example. So let's zoom into Arena's face. Now as you can see, there's a nice amount of shading right here. What you're going to do is you're going to go over here to the right. You're going to click on your rectangle tool, not your lasso tool, but your rectangle tool. What you're going to do is you're going to go over a certain section of Arena's face or whatever manga you choose or whatever. And then what you're going to do is that you're going to go to edit, and you're going to go all the way down to where it says define pattern. You're going to click that. Now what that's going to do is that's going to save that pattern. Now you could name it anything you want, but it's going to save that pattern or the shading as it were. Then you're going to click OK. Now that's saved. Alright. Now you're done. You have your shading, okay? You're going to go back to the picture you're working on, where in this case is Sylph from Eden Zero. You're going to scroll all the way up. Now what you're going to do is that you're going to use your lasso tool with the points, and you're going to go ever so around where the lines are, but you're going to try your best to not touch the black lines, and I have a little method for that as well. So you're going to go around, you're going to go just lightly right outside of the lines. You're going to do your pattern and go around this part. I'm showing it to you like this so you can see from yourself. You're going to make sure to not hit any of the black, okay? And you're going to go all the way around, and then you're going to connect. Now, once you connect that, okay, while you're inside the section, or you're still on your lasso tool, you're going to see a little square pop up next to your pointer. You're going to right click. That's going to bring up another mini menu. Now what you're going to do is you're going to go to fill. When you go to fill, you're not going to go to content aware. What you're going to go is you're going to go to pattern, and then you're going to click custom pattern. Now do you remember that pattern that we just saved, guys? You're going to click it. You're going to find it and click it. Once you find it and you click it, you're going to press OK. And what that's going to do is that's going to create your pattern or your shadow. So while you're up close to it, it really doesn't look like much, right? But once you zoom out, watch this. Look at that. See? And you could press Control and D to deselect it. And look at that. The lines are gone and you have a nice shading now. Do you see what I mean, guys? And you're going to do that for everything. You're going to go around and you're just going to shade everything, and you're going to have a nice shaded area, so then you can just color regularly how you would normally color using the gradient map tool. And that's manual shading. Okay, now I'm going to show you guys another technique of manual shading as well. Now this technique is a lot more fun. So let's just say you're looking at this person's hair. Now you got to learn how light hits everything and shadows and everything like that. That's just something that you have to learn. No one can teach you that. You have to learn and experience it, look at different pictures, things of that nature. But we know for a fact that because this is her head and this is the inside of her hair right here, there's going to be shadow here. So what you're going to do is you're going to go down and you're going to make a new layer. Okay, you're going to click like that little page sign right there, right next to the trash can, and make a new layer. What you're going to do is, using your lasso tool, you're going to first go over this section. You're just going to trace it over it. Okay, you're going to go over it, just trace it. I'm not going to be that precise because, again, I'm just showing you guys, but you guys can be more precise if you do it. I'm just giving you guys the basic example of how to do it. So you're going to go over it, trace it, go over it, out the loop. Again, it's going to be a little sloppy because I'm just showing you. Okay, so once you've gone completely over it and you traced it, what you're going to do is while you're still on this layer, because your little the line should be under which layer you're on. You're gonna see right here where it says normal. You're gonna bring that up and make it multiply. Now, while you're still on that layer, and you're still on your lasso tool, you're gonna go to inside of what you just selected. You're gonna right click again. You're gonna go to fill, and you're gonna go right back to pattern. It should still be on there. And what you're going to do is you're just gonna press OK. See what I mean, guys? And then you could control deselect it and zoom out. And guys, you just add this shadow to the hair. And matter of fact, we can keep this going. Let's just say you want to go around here. Because again, this is the inside, so this is going to be shadow as well. Let's go inside right here. Select that while we're still on this layer. Right click, go to fill. We already on pattern, and just press OK. And so that's shadow as well. You zoom out, and you guys can see right then and there. That's how you add shadow on layers when you don't have to delete the lines. But if you have to delete the lines, like these right here, if you have to delete the lines, you're going to have to go to the background itself. You can't do it on a separate layer, because if you try to do it, let me show you. If you try to do it on a separate layer, let's say for instance you're on here and you say, oh, I'm going to do it on a separate layer, and you want to keep the lines, then fine. You're going to do it on this layer. I'm just going sloppy over it to show you guys. And when you go to right click and you go to fill and you go to pattern, then it's just going to make it darker, and it's actually going to add a shadow, but the lines are going to be there. But if you, let me control Z, but if you go to the actual background and then you press fill and you do it that way, then the lines will be gone and it'll be an actual shadow. Okay, so that's manual shading, guys. I just wanted to show you guys those few tips. Control Z out of that. I want to show you guys those few tips and show you exactly how we manual shade something. How do we get rid of the lines? And just make the picture a lot more easier to color using the gradient map tool. Oh, I want to show you guys something else too, a little technique I learned when coloring eyes. Okay, let's just say you have a character like this and they don't have any shadow in the eye, so you really don't know. I use basically the Pac-Man method. So you're going to go back to that layer I was telling you about this on multiply. Using your lasso tool, you're going to make like a Pac-Man mouth. You're going to go up like Waka Waka, over, then you're going to go down again, Waka Waka, then you're going to go around the eyes like this. Then you're going to do the exact same thing again, as I showed you guys how to select multiple objects in the first video I made. Again, link to it will be in the description box below and an annotation at the top of the screen. You're going to go all the way around. Okay, then you're going to simply right click and go to fill, pattern, and then you have shading over the eyes as well. Control Z, and I know up close it doesn't look like much, but then when you back out, look at that. See the difference that made, guys? Okay, so that's it, guys. That will do it. And trust me, using all these techniques that I've showed you today and the techniques that I showed you in the first video should help you out tremendously, especially when you're coloring manga. And by the end of watching this video, both videos, you should be a pro at it, are very good at it, and you're going to learn more things. And I'm just thankful that I'm here to actually help you. And one day, guys, you'll end up being able to color and making something like this. Yeah, Gold D. Roger from the newest chapter of One Piece. But hey, that'll do it. Thank you guys so much. That's been the video. I may make a new video next year showing you guys new things that I learned. I don't know if we'll see how this video does. Thank you so much, and you guys stay good. Sign out, suckers.